All right, let me see if that's working. All right, let me see if that's working now. Sorry, everybody, if that got messed up. Uh, hey, sorry, everybody, if that got messed up for a second there. I am back. Give me a second here just to get everything situated. Something weird happened with the stream, so I'm gonna give it a second and just make sure that it's working properly before I start talking a bunch. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, sorry about that. If the stream closed and then restarted, there was just a weird problem. All right. Good to see you in the chat. Project Panic, as always. All right. This thing is running up like crazy right now. Put this over. All right. Hey, Daryl, good to see you. Yeah, this thing is running up like crazy. We got ourselves a nice strong uptrend now. It wasn't an uptrend day to start, but it's turned into one. At this point, you'd probably want to have a measured leg from the overnight and then this low as our main target, which we're almost there. So it looks like we're almost at the measured leg. So that would be kind of the upside target, the initial upside target. And then after that, I mean, it looks like we're going up towards where the price had closed last week. Or not last week, sorry, on the 4th. And that was the price that we were at yesterday before we dumped. So we might come back up to that level and then try to go higher. We'll see. This whole move got taken back. That's pretty wild when that happens. All right, so we'll talk about the trades here in a second. Just want to make sure that everything's working with the stream because I had to like close it and reopen it at some point there. So hopefully everyone's good. Oh, cool, Daryl. Cool. But that's still cool that you got 4 points on it, you know? Like, it'll happen. You know, look, I think the thing is here, just look at it like this. If you were in this trade and you have a runner, so let's say you're in this trade and you get in right here. This candle goes up. There's really no reason to get out of this. Like, even if you just wait for each candle to close, like, even if you just trailed behind each candle after it closed, like a tick behind each one, you would have been able to trail this thing all the way up to here. That would have been where you would have gotten closed out. Even if you just trailed one tick below each wick, and that would have been 9 points. So keep that in mind when you're in these types of setups. Like, you know, there's different ways to manage your runner. Another thing that you can do is you can draw sort of like a short-term trend line like this as it's going, and just wait until you get a close outside and then it starts going lower. So in that case, you would have moved your runner here, and it didn't actually go lower, so you still would have gotten out basically at the same place. So that's kind of how you can manage that. For me, I was ready to wrap up my day, so I actually just exited right up here. I didn't try to play a runner there because I was thinking that we might find some congestion right here, or at least like some rejection. So I just was ready to be done and take my dog for a walk, and that was the last trade of the day for me. So I didn't take a like a big runner there. But yeah, you could have managed your runner in a lot of different ways there. There you go. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That makes sense. Ken, good to see you. Good to see you. And the thing is, the whole like how to manage runners and let things ride, it's very, very determined by like your personality, how you look at things. There's a lot of different factors there. So that's a tough one. It's a tough one to speak to because everybody's got different tendencies. And that's something that like you kind of have to learn about yourself and then figure out like what you're looking to do, what you're looking to work on there. But overall, it was a pretty sweet day. It was a pretty sweet day. All right. So it doesn't really look like there is a first entry long there, but this needs to come back. We didn't quite make the measured move yet, but we might. We might. Yeah, exactly, Daryl. That's probably the way. That's the way to go. It's a whole different thing when you start to do them. It does change the math quite a bit, so you got to be careful with that. Yeah, I saw that, Peter. I saw your screenshot in the paid community, and I saw that you had gotten in kind of a weird spot. Look, I wouldn't do that. Technically, I don't. I think if you miss the trade, you miss the trade. I don't like to chase because by getting in late like that, it's already gotten close to the scalp target. So now you're really messing with the math of what you need for it to go. So I just think it's risky to do that. I mean, I know it worked out for you that time, but you might consider that getting away with one. So if you miss the setup, just drop the limit order back where you need it to go to get filled. I don't agree with chasing. I don't think it's a good move. So that's just the way I see it, at least. So there is kind of a pullback first entry here. There's no second entry, but you got to be careful with this because it's kind of grinding down. So you got to be careful here. After a move like that, you might see some correction. So we don't know if this is going to hold. I don't think, doesn't look like it's going to hold to me. That's a close outside right there of this channel. So now you got to be aware. Also, that's a pretty steep move. So we need to actually probably draw this from the lower high because a move that steep is probably, this is probably the actual trend line here. So we don't really need this. Probably like that. You kind of got a first entry. This is more like kind of like a double top. It's not really a leg. So now you got to look. I would really just look at this all like one leg. So we don't even really, can't really play it like a second entry yet. Where it looks like we're going to come back and test the original range. So we'll see. Project Panic, that's right. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, for me, it's like, look, if you measure this, let's say, I don't know what you were going for, whether it was 4 ticks, probably 4 ticks at that point because the ATR wasn't very high right there. So that's already moved enough to get you your full scalp. So if you're entering all the way up here, there is room to get to those highs. So it's not terrible, but now your stop loss is all the way down here. So what your stop loss on that is 3.5 points. Like, it starts to be a lot bigger stop loss. So I just think that it's a dangerous way to play it. So that's how I'd see it. All right, give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, everybody. Sorry about that. Had to quick Have to do something real quick. Okay. So, it looks like we got to close outside new low here. So that's actually a second entry. I was away when it happened, of course. I was away when that just happened. So, classic. All right, well, this is a second entry long right here. Now, I would have to mark this as a green, but this is a second entry long. Basically, you can treat this like a double top, and it's a pullback. Tries to go higher here, so that would be like a first entry and then a pullback, and that's a second entry long. It's an equal low, so you could treat it like a new low. It's the close outside downtrend playing out. The only reason I'd mark it green is that it's kind of like it's breaking back inside the possible range, so I don't love that. But it's there. If you got a little higher low here, it'd probably be a little better. But decent little setup. Decent one. And now we expect a new high to be made on this up channel. So we would shrink this. And I expect a new high to be made here. So we'll mark that off. That's the level we're looking for. And then we'll draw a kind of a trend line here. Short term. Nothing, like this is just a correction trend. So it's a little different. All right, you said you find the 2000 tick to be a little too fast for your liking. You like the idea. Is it possible to use your strategy on a higher tick value like the 4000 tick? It is, but the only problem is if you start going with a bigger tick size. Here, let me actually see if I can show you. I don't think I have. Here, give me 1 second and I'll show you the problem. Let me hide my screen for just a moment here so I can customize a quick chart. Give me 1 second. I'm going to make a 4000 tick chart real fast. All right. All right, now I can show you. This is a 4000 tick chart. All my trend lines are going to be way weird because of it. So you can see like it's counting down from 4000 now. So this is a 4000 tick chart. You can see this wouldn't even have given you a trade right here, technically, because it's not a good signal bar. You would have had this trade, so it would have worked. The problem that you're going to run into when you start trading a bigger tick chart is that sometimes the candles are enormous, right? So, like this one's not bad. It's like a 12 tick bar. On the 2000 tick chart, that was only an 8 tick bar, so your stop loss is going to be smaller. Because you still have to trade it the way that you would. So you still have to put your stops below the signal bars. So, like, that's something to keep in mind. Now, let me go look at some of the other setups. That you wouldn't have had a trade there. This one wouldn't have been a good enough signal bar, so you wouldn't have had a trade there. The failure would have been here, but then it would have probably trapped you. You know, so the challenge is you're just going to get less setups. There's not even a second entry long here. There is down here. So if you traded the 4000, you could have a pullback first entry, pullback. There's a second entry there, but it's still in the channel. So again, there's really not much setups if you trade that system. Now, there are some, like this one, but you have to be a lot more patient. And your stop losses are going to be bigger because the bars themselves are bigger. So I just wanted to show you that real quick. Like, even just look at these bars. Like, that bar is 19 ticks. That one's 26 ticks. So if you trade it with a bigger bar size, you're going to have a bigger stop loss. You're going to have a bigger target. And you're going to have to be more patient. It starts to become less like scalping and more like swing, like a little bit of a swing. Not necessarily a swing trade, but something that you're going to have to be a lot more patient. Like, you're going to have to be okay with sitting in your trades for like several minutes, not seconds, but minutes. You know, like you might even be in trades for 15 minutes sometimes if you're trading on that tick size. You know, so just be aware of that. It does change things quite a bit, but it does work because price action works on every time frame. Unless you get too small, then of course it becomes difficult to even like make any sense of it. But like I trade the same way on like daily charts and whatnot. I look at them all the same way. But I just know that if I'm on a daily chart, I have a much longer time frame that I'm looking at for how I'm evaluating the trade. Hopefully that all makes sense. All right, if you're here, everybody, please give the stream a like. We are going to try to get up to 50 likes today. We got 12 right now. So we're trying to get to 50 likes. So hit that like button, get the stream out to more people. We're at 5267 subscribers. The goal today is going to be 5277. So we'll try to get to 5277 subscribers. But everybody, please hit that like. And then what I'm going to do now is, so this is trying to make a new high. I'm going to start going through the trades for the day and all the setups. But I'm just waiting to see what happens here because I want to see if it makes a new high here. We're basically just waiting for this up channel to play out. And of course, the second entry formed while I was away from the screen for a second. But what are you going to do? All right. Let me see something here. Make sure I didn't miss any comments. All right. We got the measured move. Hey, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Little Hammer, welcome. All right. Angel, let me know if that made sense to you. Hey, thanks, Little Hammer. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right, so looks like this is breaking lower. So there is a first entry. There's a second entry short here, but not one that you're not looking to short that yet. Probably going to fail and make a new high here. I mean, it's so close. Probably going to make the new high. We've been seeing a lot of stuff get front run today. And thanks for the kind words, everybody. I appreciate all that. I just want to, before I go over the trade setups that I saw today, I just want to watch this for a second and see what we get here. It's going so slow. We're waiting to see if the highs get taken out, which I do think that they're at least going to get tested here, probably taken out. Looks like there's some people trying to short it before it gets there. They're probably going to get trapped right here, I think. I think a bunch of shorts are going to get trapped right here, most likely, and it's going to spike up real quick, stop them all out, and then probably reverse down a little bit and give us an actual little correction. So we'll see. We could form a flatter channel up here. We'll see, because that other channel was pretty aggressive, so we'll see. But let's wait and see if they all get trapped first. See, this is one of those funny zones because people are trying to short early because they think it's going to reverse. But then there's also people trying to pile on long because they think it's going to break out. They're probably going to both get trapped. So what's probably going to happen here, usually in spots like this, is people try to short it early. They get trapped. It stops them all out. And then all the people that were trying to long the breakout get trapped. And then it actually reverses on them. And it traps them on both sides. So the shorts get trapped first. They take a loss. Then the longs get trapped and they take a loss. And then it ends up correcting properly. That's usually what happens in a spot like this. There it goes. So the shorts are now stopped out. Because they probably all had their stop losses right above the highs. Right above this swing and right above this swing. So the shorts just got stopped out. So now what I'm thinking is going to happen here most likely is that these longs are going to get trapped. Everybody's trying to long this breakout right now. And most breakouts fail, even on a trend day like this. So the highest likelihood for me is that this is going to come up and give us a bearish candle and then reverse. There's a really bullish candle right there, so it should, if my theory is correct, it should give us a bearish candle in reverse. Now it might still go higher. We've seen crazy things happen on days like this when we have an uptrend, so we'll see. Everyone's trying to short it early, so let's wait and see. pretty far from the EMA. Here, let me... Probably more like that. And this is actually your close outside new high. And now you're going to get... My guess would be that you get a big bearish engulfing candle that just engulfs this whole candle here. We get some sort of reversal. But again, I'm not picking a top. I'm just going to wait and see what it does. Because it looks like they're still FOMOing in up here. If I zoom out, we're way up towards those highs. Here, we can mark this level up here. That was like an previous overnight high from, like midnight or so on the 5th, a little after midnight my time. That's up there. That would be probably our first target to the upside. Second target to the upside, we could end up going up to these levels up here somewhere. Wouldn't surprise me, but we'll see. We never quite filled that gap. We were close, but got front run. All right, let's see here. All right, everybody, if you're here, please give the video a like. We got 20. We're trying to go for 50. And give us a subscribe. We're trying to get to 52.77 today. I'm going to start going through the trades for the day, and we'll come back to the price action in a minute. It's tempting to just sit there and watch it. I guess I'll watch it for another second because it does look like we might get the sort of like the setup I was talking about. It didn't technically engulf the bar. It's a double top there. Hey, Matt, good to see you. Didn't quite make a engulfing bar. It just made a double top. So it's not exactly the setup I was talking about, but it is something. It is probably going to do something similar to what I said. That we should get a pretty big bearish bar here if it's going to reverse. And then what we would look for is like another attempt up with a lower high or something. You wouldn't just short this. You don't want to just pick a top. There's just not enough information yet. You need to have some sort of confirmation of the reversal actually happening. Reversals are always tough, especially after a big move like that, because everyone wants to pick a top. And it's generally not the best way to trade, of course. But let's see what we get. Yeah, you can see it's actually created a little bit of an inside bar. It's only a 7-tick bar, so it's not really looking like there's a lot of seller strength here. But, you know, it could still happen. We just got to wait. All right, we'll come back to it now. We'll go look at the trades. All right, so early this morning, I drew the swings from the low to the high. We had our range. And it took a while to get a setup today because basically what happened was in the overnight, we had a down channel that got a new low here, and then it just kind of kept correcting, and it turned into this weird little range that did not really have very consistent highs and lows. Now, the highs were decent. You can see that. There is a second entry triple test right here, but you can't take it because the up channel was still in play. But the lows were pretty inconsistent. And you can see, like, I drew it off of here, and that kind of became the low, but it went lower. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened in here. So, like, you can see, we kind of had a close outside, new low. This came up, close outside, new high, one more leg up, then it reversed. Then we had this down channel. There's a second entry here, but you can't take it because it's still in the down channel. Then you get this higher low, but at this point, it's like, this is pretty sideways, a little bit congested, and also, you don't have a new low yet made on this channel. And the problem here is that if you look at these highs, you have this high, this high, this high, these highs. It's making lower highs this whole time. So, like, there's not a down channel here, but just going to draw this to illustrate, like, the move was, like, getting lower. Or here, let me just use this line. From this high, you could see, like, the movement is going down. You see that there? Even if you drew this all the way over like this, you could see that there's just, it's making somewhat lower highs as it goes. And so it's just not ideal to be looking for a long there, because even though, and if you, I'm not going to draw a channel here, but just to illustrate, you could see that it was kind of bearish overall. So trying to pick the bottom is tough there. So you really need this to confirm, which it does. but then you don't get a setup here. I mean, I guess technically you get this double bottom, higher low. So you could argue for this higher low. I just think that at this point it's a little bit sideways, so I just didn't mark anything in here. I just think that you're better off to not take any of this. It's just too congested and sideways, and it still has that bearish bias. So you're kind of longing right towards the upside of the bearish channel. It does make a first entry, second entry short again, but it's still in that channel. Then it goes higher, doesn't quite get to the highs, comes back and tests this level. Now, after it tests this level and bounced, now you could kind of see, okay, this probably is the lows of the range. And then it comes up and it gives us a failed breakout here. So it comes up, first entry, pullback, second entry short. It's a lower high after a failed breakout, right off the spot where we had just rejected a few times. Pretty consistent highs there. So I think that's a good one. Now, I will say, the only thing that's slightly not perfect about it is that this up channel doesn't have a new high, because this is the closeout side here. But that's so close to being a double top that it's probably going to trap a bunch of longs who go for the move and try to take the breakout here. They thought they got a pullback and are trying to go higher, and they were wrong. So I think that's a good one. And then you get a failure here. If I had a more bearish bar here, I would have taken this, because that would have been a nice little first entry, second entry long failure to ride it to the lows of the range, but it just didn't transpire exactly. Because you could see here, this bar engulfed the red one, so a bunch of people went long, and they all got trapped right there. Then it turns into this little up channel. There's kind of a closeout side new high here, second leg, and then it reverses. I also drew this like this, and that's still a new high closeout side. So either way that you draw it, this channel has played out and reverses. I don't really see any good trades here. It comes down and gives us a first entry. Then you get the closeout side of the channel and a second entry long. That's an okay one. It's off the midlines. You know, there are some reasons to like that, maybe to try to take it back to the EMA or whatnot. But it's pretty bearish overall, and you just failed back into the range. So it's a little bit risky. I took this lower high. I really liked this setup, but I didn't take either of these green arrow trades. Comes down and then fails out the bottom, and you get sideways here. You have a little bit of a hard time getting back in. Finally, you do, and you actually do get double bottom here. So you actually get a first entry, second entry short that fails, and it forms above the EMA, sort of. But it's just not really like great setup on my chart. I know someone in my paid community had a really nice setup there, because they had a second entry, actually, that was also a failed second entry short. They had a second entry long. Good morning, Traderator. Good to have you here. And so then this cruises up, and then you get this close outside new high. This is you could treat this all like one new low and look at this kind of like a second entry short, but you're not really looking to pick a top there right outside of the range that we just went out of. It does do a breakout pullback here, but man, that's risky. That's way risky to take that long. It does another breakout pullback here, but again, I still think it's risky to go long there. I was hoping that this second entry here would have come back and given us a triple test breakout pullback, but it didn't. I marked this one green because it is a pullback first entry, pullback second entry long off the EMA. At this point, you would have had your trend drawn, but it's not off of the trend line. It hasn't retested this area for a triple test. It's only off the minor key entry point of the 21 EMA, so it's reasonable, but I don't like it. It's also not clear if this is really a closeout side or not of this channel. Because like you could draw this like this, and it's a closeout side, but you could also draw it like this, and then it's not a closeout side. And both of those look pretty much correct. So I just think when it's ambiguous like that, you're always taking a risk, taking the trade. You want it to be an obvious trend channel playing out. So that's how I looked at that one. If you're here, please give the stream a like. We're trying to get to 50 likes today. We're trying to get to 5277 subscribers. So please give us a like and a subscribe. We actually lost a subscriber on the stream. So, hey, play the world's smallest violin for me. All right. So then here we come up, and we get this double top right here. It reverses. And then you could see here, there's a pullback, first entry, pullback. There is a second entry long there, but I just don't think it's good because it's a double top. So I like to reset my count most of the time. This doesn't really look like a leg to me. So I looked at this like a first entry. Now you do get a higher low, so it's technically a second entry long above that. But I looked at this like a visual. So what I did here was looked at this like this. 1, 2 legs back, right? So 1 leg back, lower high, second leg back. Right off the key entry point here, it's a visual second entry long. So on a larger time frame, you would see this like I actually showed the 4,000 tick chart earlier. You would see this as a pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry long, right off the key entry point. It made a new low on this down channel, so that has played out. And so there's a lot of reasons to like going long here. It's basically a perfect signal bar. It's only 8 ticks, so you can get into that with a 10 tick stop loss. And that was pretty much a sweet trade. So I did take that one and then ended my day. I ended up getting out up here near the highs just because I wanted to go and take the dog for a walk before the stream and be done for the day. So pretty sweet setup. Some people in my paid community took a runner there and got some really nice runners, so that was cool. And if you did play the runner here, you could have played the runner pretty far because you could have basically trailed below. Even if you just trailed, just put it below every bearish bar's wick, you know? So there's a red bar, you know, right here, for example. You would have gotten stopped out there. You know, that's one way to do it. You could also just like put it below the significant swings and just let it play out. After that swing, you go up, put it up there, wait for the next swing, probably right here. And then you'd probably go up and get stopped out somewhere up here. There's a few different ways to play it. You could even trail the EMA as one way. You could trail the EMA and just kind of keep trailing the EMA, which would have got you all the way to up here. That's another way to play it, which I think if you did that, you have a pretty nice trade. You give up some of the gains, but you still make over 12 points if you do that. So a lot of different ways to play it. Depends on how you like to play the runner. And then, of course, I already talked about this setup when we started the stream, so we'll ignore that one. And we just made our new high. There it goes. And I was talking about this before. Possible reversal. There is a lower high here, but it doesn't break below, so you just have to stay out of those here. So you do have a first entry there, second entry long, but this is most likely going to fail, in my opinion. Hard to say for sure, of course. Hard to say for sure. You do want to draw your correction channel. And it does look like that is a close outside already of the little correction channel. But I wouldn't take a second entry long there. There's just no reason to. You just made a new high. So this thing could easily fail. We could go sideways. There's a lot of possibilities here. We have to be patient and let it play out more. And that's currently where the price action is. This was our measured move, so we could just delete that. Measured move was hit. Don't need a bunch of random stuff on the chart. This was our original range to that high, and we came back and tested it. So we'll keep that on the chart just in case. But let's zoom way out now and see if there's any bigger patterns happening. So there is one thing that I am seeing just visually, and that is right here. This was a spike. So it is possible here that we actually have a spike and channel forming. Something like this. It's not perfect. But you can see from this low, coming off of this price, it almost touches it there. It just barely misses it. And then off of that close, and then off of that high. Like, this might actually just be a flatter channel forming here. So we do need to be aware of that possibility. We would really, like, there's a couple of touches there. But I'd probably want it to come back here to really confirm if this is a very valid channel. But it is possible that we have this channel working. Now, it's not guaranteed, because this was a close outside and a move to a new high on this channel right here. So the flatter channel is only a possibility. But it does look like it could be a spike and channel pattern. That's like the bigger pattern overall. So we just need to stay aware of that. We'll keep it on the chart. But again, remember, it's not guaranteed. It's just a possibility. The midline does fit somewhat, but I feel like it's missing a couple little gaps here. So not a perfect one. But we'll draw it on there just in case. Just in case. I'm going to say it might even be... Let me actually look. Does it fit better from... Sometimes you gotta test it from a few spots. Does it fit better from here? No. Okay. All right, if you have not done so already, please give this stream a like. We're at 29. We're trying to get to 50 for our stream goal. And please give us a subscribe. We're trying to get to 5277. Let's do a couple of things here. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things. If you go to our link tree, it is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description. You can check out the YouTube channel. Got a bunch of stuff on here. One thing that's been really helpful for a lot of people is the full course. It's 4 hours long. It's right here. So you can check that out. It's actual sections from the paid course. There's also a 23-minute Ninja Trader setup guide for how I set up my chart, because I trade the 2000 tick ES chart. So there's a guide on how to set it all up for free. There's a free trading Discord that you could join. My TikTok and Instagram are in here. And then if you want to learn about everything I do, it's right here. It's only $99 a month to join this. This is my paid community. My full course, everything is in here. There's a video that can show you more about it. There's some testimonials, different things like that. I probably need to update those. There's a bunch of stuff that I just haven't even added. Community. You go into the community section. This is our call questions for today's call. After the stream today, we have our call, which you can see here, scheduled at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's a Zoom call. We do it every week, and then we post the recording in here. And this is just a thread for people to be able to ask questions that they want answered on the call ahead of time. You can also just ask questions on the call. And then throughout the trading session, I have my whole thing set up here where I give you the pre-market, what the pre-market looks like. I charted out all throughout the morning, throughout the whole trading session. You can see how I'm looking at the chart. You can see here, like I said, I didn't take the failure. I wanted a better signal bar, stuff like that. But I did take this one. So I talk about like the different setups. And then we talk about it more in Discord as well. So I post it all in here. And then we also have a premium Discord that you get access to where we're having discussion throughout the whole trading session before I go live. And then the full course is in here. So check this all out. It's everything that you need to learn the entire system. A bunch of live recorded trades. There's some master classes in there. There's a lot in the course. It's pretty comprehensive. And if you got questions on it, put them in the chat. All right, so let's see if we got any questions here. Always good to see you in the chat, Traderator. Forgot if I said hi or not. All right, anybody that has questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Happy to answer pretty much any trading questions. Let's see what we get here. So right now, you could look at this like a double top, kind of like a pullback first entry. And then we might get actually like a larger second entry long here. But again, it's not really a great idea to take a long because we already made a new high. So we might need a bigger pullback here. You got to be patient. Okay, Jacob, you're saying, could I explain the strategy on a breakout makes new low, then we go long in an uptrend? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Sorry, I don't really know if I understand the question. Would you mind just like rephrasing that? Because I don't actually know what you're asking me. And also, if you have an example on today's chart, let me know, and I'm happy to address it. But I don't really understand the question. Okay, so we are looking like we're going to try to do kind of what I was talking about here and possibly make a larger two-legged correction. We're back to the EMA. Yeah, Jacob, just go ahead and rephrase the question, and I'm happy to answer it. I just didn't really understand kind of the wording of it or like kind of exactly what you meant there, so... All right, let's see here. Yeah, for sure. Hey, thanks for that, Coles. Okay, Jacob, let me see your question now. All right, when we're in a trend, let's say an uptrend, it'll break out, create a new low, then it goes back up. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. That's just the rules of trend lines. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's the rules of trend lines. Like in a trend, let's say it's an uptrend. When you get a break outside of the bottom of the channel, the most likely situation is that it then makes a new high before it actually reverses. And it's because most breakouts fail. So most breakouts fail even if it's only a temporary failure. Now, occasionally a breakout just completely succeeds, right? If the area is like weak or whatever, but like in a strong trend, you're going to see this all the time. Like here's an example of one. We had a strong trend up. We got to close outside the bottom, and then it made a new high. I literally said this was going to happen before it even happened. So when the stream started, we were like right, I don't remember where we were, somewhere like right in here. We were in here, and then I had to walk away. And then when I came back, this little up channel was moving, and I was like, we're going to get a new high here because we need to make a new high, and then we might get a reversal. And that's exactly what happened. We made the new high right there. Now we're making a lower high, and we're getting our actual reversal. And that's because of the way that trend lines move. All right, let me see, Daryl. You think that he's looking for... Okay. Yeah, I mean... It's kind of like this is exactly where it is. Like this was an uptrend, close outside, move to a new high. So there you go. Like that's exactly what we're talking about. That's why there's a long here. Because this is most likely going to make a new high, not just keep going lower. Ooh, hopefully I muted my mic in time. I had a dad sneeze. Everybody knows if you're a dad and you sneeze, it's 10 times as loud as a normal man's sneeze. Just a rule. It's science. Just science, everybody. Okay, so we'll see if this low wants to hold here. Start forming some sort of a micro range type of thing. I'm not really counting on it, but we can look at it. Start to map out these levels. Just in case we form like a little micro range. Because sometimes after you form the correction, sometimes this is the thing. It's not always a reversal after. Sometimes the reversal is just, it forms a little range. And that's the reversal. Like, especially after a really strong up move, it's not like it's going to do this. Here, let me draw it out with some arrows. Like, some people think that the trend line rule is going to do this. Let's see. A lot of people think that this is what it's going to do. You're going to have an uptrend, break, new high, and then reverse. That's not always the case. Sometimes, instead of reversing like that, what you end up getting is where it does this. I need to get the hotkey for that. What is that? Control F2. Sometimes, instead, what you get is something like this, right? Where this is the new extreme, and then we just turn into a little range, and then it can continue. Like, it doesn't mean that it has to reverse, right? Sometimes the range is enough. So just understand that. Like, it doesn't... We know that the most likely situation is going to be that a new extreme will be made, but that doesn't necessarily guarantee a reversal after. It just means that the new high is made, and it did get made. So now we wait and see, does it turn into a range? Does it turn into a reversal back down? We don't know yet. And that's the thing. But all we know is that the price action has played out. And now this is new price action that we evaluate. Did I miss the mute button? My bad, everybody. My bad. I swear I thought I hit it, but let me see. Let me know real quick. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm on mute and I want to see if you can hear me. So let me know if you can hear me. I just tried to experiment with the mute button. I thought that muted it, but I guess not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if everybody heard me sneeze. Oh, it's too funny. I tried to hit mute. Oh man, so it doesn't. All right, so it's not working. All right, let me try this. All right. I'm going to count to 3, and then right after I count to 3, I'm going to say something and tell me if you can hear it. 1, 2, 3. Did anybody hear what I just said after I counted to 3? Oh, good grief. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. What a fail. That's a fail. Okay, that mute worked. All right, well, hey, now I know. Well, that means that I had a call the other day, and I had a call the other day that I literally answered. So that means that you guys must have heard me talking on the phone. I think yesterday, actually. Did you? So if anybody was here yesterday, did you hear my phone call? It was no big deal. It was no big deal. The phone call was just somebody was just an appointment for one of my kids getting rescheduled, so it was no big deal. But now I know. All right, let me see here. Yeah, Gene, you know the deal. The parental sneeze, super loud. What's up, Jacoby? Good to see you. Good to see you. Shelly, thanks for letting me know. Classic. Yep. All right. Well, hey, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. I'm pretty sure that's happened a couple of times, so there might be some live streams out there where I had some. The door incident was also heard. I don't even remember what the door incident was, but hey, you know what? That's real life in my house. So hey, there you go. What did I do? Someone let me know what I did. Now I want to know. Now I want to know. Oh man. Too good. Too good. All right, let me see. Howard, welcome. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's all good. That's all good. You guys heard me yell at the dog. Hey. Oh, I yelled at one of the kids for knocking on the door while I was streaming. Hey, you know what? That's real life that's real life in my house. It was one of the kids. It was probably one of the kids. Like, that kept knocking on the door. Classic. Classic. You know there's someone out there that's like, I can't believe he would yell at his kids. Gentle parenting only. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work. I got 3 kids. I'll tell you straight up. Sometimes you just gotta boss things up and tell them what's what. I don't care what anyone says. Sometimes you just gotta be real about it. That's real life. That's real life. All right, anyway, we did make a second entry here. It looks like it's trying to fail. It does look like a little bit of a range. Yeah, no, they don't. Well, my older kids don't. They understand. It's just my youngest. Just start knocking on the office window. So we'll see if this range holds here. We might get a triple test, but this is just a tough spot right here because now you've had some failures. You've had like the visual second entry long that's failing. You have the second entry short here, but you're not really looking for that here. This is looking like a range. So we might actually get a bullish bar here, which would be somewhat of a triple test, but it isn't the most perfect one because it's making lower lows each time and it's not getting to the highs. So it is a little bit risky to take a long here because if you do, you don't know for sure that it's going to go up to the highs because it hasn't the last two swings, which makes you think that this is not really a sideways range, but more of a slightly bearish one. So that's what's up. Oh, good God. All right, let me see here. All right, I'll be right back. 2 seconds or 2 minutes. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll be right back. All right, my bad. I'm back. All right, let me see. I missed a few things. Let me see. All right. We are coming back. Yeah, I mean, sort of. It's not one that you would take. I mean, I wouldn't really look at, like, this isn't really one that you'd take. You're going right into these lows. Now, again, like, this has just got a slight bias to it. Nothing groundbreaking, but there is a down bias here that you just kind of have to be aware of. You can kind of just see something like this. It's nothing crazy. It's just a little micro correction. It does have a downward bias to it. But we are coming off of this area that I was saying might be a possible trend line. So let's see what we get. I wouldn't really consider this like a channel. I'm just drawing this to show you that there is a downward bias. Like, we don't really have... Like, I had drawn those lows seeing if they hold, but they don't. So, so nothing crazy there. But there is a slight bias to the downside here. Nothing really... There's nothing really that good in here from what I can tell so far. This is just really like, there's some dojis printing. Just nothing really that great here. So we just got to be patient. All right, so let's get some more likes going. If you haven't done so already, please give the stream a like. We're at 34, trying to get to 50. We're at 5269 subscribers, trying to get to 5277. So those are the goals. So hit that like button on the stream. Let's get it out to more people. Let's try to get up to 50. And we are going to be doing our call in about a little less than 30 minutes in the paid community. So if anybody wants to join the call, if you're not in the paid community, you can join the paid community, and then you can join the call. Oh, I didn't mean for that. Let's go to... All right. Give me 1 second, just looking at something real quick. All right, my bad. I had a couple of things I had to just quickly address. Yeah, and now it looks like we are right near that trend channel that I drew before. Let me fix that. That's about right there. It's not really a, it's like, you know, one of those almost touches. So this trend channel might be in play, but I don't love that it's like missing that by a tick. I actually am wondering if this is one of those situations where, let's see something real quick. Bear with me 1 second while I mess around with this trend channel. That's 2. Sometimes I will draw them from a close if it's just fitting the price action in a more accurate looking way. That's not really looking different pretty much at all. That's from the same exact level. So I think that that is the correct place where I had it originally drawn. It's just not quite hitting the level. So that's going to happen every once in a while. But yeah, just missing it very slightly. Like that. All right, so it does miss it very slightly there, but this trend channel does appear to be somewhat intact. Dusty, maybe, maybe. I mean, to me, it's just a bigger up channel that's kind of still in play. This is one of those. I understand what you're saying. Like this is just like a little correction, but we got these highs here, so we'll see what we do here. To me, it looks like a pullback to the channel with a higher low, but I just don't think that it's really a setup. All right. Please give the stream a like, everybody. We're only at 36. We're trying to get to 50. We're not really even close. Trying to get 8 more subscribers to get us to 5277. I literally went and got myself some water, and I forgot to get it. I'm going to go grab it real fast. All right. There it goes, rejecting right off those same highs. Let's draw lows. You can draw them maybe from there. Somewhat of a level there. You could argue that that's a triple test right there. By the way, this is like this isn't like the most accurate channel. I just drew it as a possibility. Because you can see the bearish bias in play. But we are kind of just bouncing between levels right now. This is somewhat of a triple test higher low off of there, there, and there. I just think it's a little dicey. This is a second entry short, but this is I would treat this more like a double bottom. So I'd look at it more like a first entry. And pretty soon we're going to have our live call. So anybody that wants to check it out, it's in the paid community right after the stream. We're doing a live Zoom call. So if you do want to join, all you do is just join the paid community. The link is in the description. And it's in the link tree. And you can hop into that call. It'll be a Zoom call. Do it every week. It gets recorded and put in the course. In its own course. All right, so we might come up and make a triple test up here. This up channel is like pretty flat, so it's one of those ones that is not like super good to trade off of, like unless you come down to the level. It's like this is one of those ones where if you zoom out, you can kind of see when it's flat like this, you can usually take trades in both directions. We're kind of playing the shorter term sideways stuff here. Tony, thanks for the question. I'm not... Okay, so you see... All right, so one person, 15 for a point. Someone else, 5 points with 15. Someone else, 5 contracts for 2 points. Okay, so it depends. Going for 5 points, I'm not sure what that strategy is. That must be more of like a swing trading style. So that's definitely not how I do it. What I do is I use the ATR. So I use the 21 period ATR to help me determine my scalp target. And so I go for anything between, it really just depends. Like right now, the ATR is low enough that I'd be going for 1 point. Earlier today, I was going for 1.5 points. So 6 ticks. So like earlier today, when I took the trade setups that I took, I was going for 6 ticks on my scalp. And then if the ATR is high enough, like earlier this morning, I was looking at possibly going for 8. It just depends on how high the ATR is. And then if it goes even higher, there's times where I go for even higher. So for me, it's based on the current volatility. I'm usually going for something near, like something close to half of the current ATR is what my scalp target will be. So hopefully that makes sense. So it's a little bit more dynamic for me. I let the market dictate what is the best way to do it. And that also helps with managing the risk side of things, because it's like, for example, if the bars are 8 ticks, well, my stop losses are going to be like 10 ticks. If the bars are like 30 ticks, well, my stop losses are going to be like 32 ticks. So that's a big difference. So I try to account for that. And that's why my scalp target does change. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, the way I do it is a little bit more of dynamic. It's pretty close to go. I don't really believe in just always going for 4 ticks or always going for 8 ticks or always going for 5 points. I don't really see why that's how you'd want to do it. I think that the conditions of the market are different at different times. So you want to be a little bit more dynamic. Now, I will say that a lot of the times lately, I'm only going for like 4. So I'm only going for a point or maybe 1.5 points, maybe 2 points. That's how it's been most of the summer. But I'd say before the summer, there were some times where we had some high volatility and I was going for more. So that's how it goes. What was... Divvy, that is hard to know exactly what you're talking about. You got a timestamp for me? Let me know what timestamp you're looking at, and I can try to pull it up, because I don't remember. And I don't keep my drawings on into the next day, so my drawings will be gone. So I can't really, like, speak to it without knowing. Gene, I showed this earlier, but it's right here. Inside here in school, just go to the calendar and just click on this, and it has a link in it. That's it. You just click on it in the calendar, and then there's a link. And it's a Zoom call, so it's on Zoom. You could even open it now if you want, and then it'll just, like, if you need to download Zoom or whatever, it'll do it for you. All right, so that is, let's see, we have 38 likes. We're trying to get to 50. If you haven't liked the stream yet, please give us a like so we can try to get our goal up to 50. And we only need 6 more subscribers to get to 5277, which is our goal for the day. We are breaking through the channel here, so this channel clearly is toast. We just made a new low on this, so we broke out the top side, made a new low. So these lows are swept. Those are done. We do need to draw a short-term downtrend here and respect this downtrend. Something like that. There is a second entry long forming here, but yeah, there is a second entry long forming, but this is a pretty steep move down, and it's not really off of anything, so it could very easily fail. This might be a little wider, like this, and this could easily fail into a failed second entry long. It's not one, I wouldn't take this in either direction right here, because we just made that new low after that break. See that there? We just made that new low after the break. So there's a little bit of conflicts there. We might be coming back to test the range now. We'll drag it over, test the range again, way down here. But this is probably going to fail. This second entry long is probably going to fail. But even if it does, it might only fail and just stop everybody out, but then get stuck sideways. All right, let me see if I can get to these questions. Yep. Tony, I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. I'm just not sure of 5. So that's interesting. So the person is trading a 500 tick chart and going for 5 points? Huh. Anyway, I'm not going to mess with that. That's a way different system, it sounds like. So not something I would be looking at. Yeah, just there's different ways to do it, you know? There's different ways to do it. And, like, they're not... Here's the thing, like, the way I look at it is, like, based on the mathematics of the market, half the ATR is a reasonable target for a scalp. So the problem with going for 8 ticks, for example, is, like, if the ATR itself is, like, near, like, a 2 points, then you're going for as big as the ATR is, but you're not entering at the extreme. So the problem with that is that, like, let's say you're taking a second entry, or let's say you're taking a trade like this. When you enter up here, it's already moved far. So you don't have much more room for it to go a full 2 points a lot of the time. So that's the challenge there. It affects your math. So by going for a bigger target, you just have to be okay with the fact that it lowers your probability of the trade winning. And if you're okay with that, then it's fine. All right. Divvy, you said second entry short that formed yesterday inside the major downtrend that went on to break the big channel. I just like, I don't know. I don't remember I don't remember how I had it all drawn. Like, you'd have to watch. You'd probably just have to watch yesterday's live stream. Did I talk about it on yesterday's live stream? Did you already look? Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think of would be, here, let me do this. The only thing I could think of is I could look at yesterday and see if it's in here, but I don't know inside the major trend. I just like, let me look. Let me see if I have a screenshot of it from yesterday when it was happening in real time. I might. Is it this one? Is it this second entry right here? Let me know. That was a second entry that I talked about, but I didn't have a good signal bar on my chart. So is it that one? Let me know, because that was a trade that I talked about not taking because of it. Near 7:52. Hopefully you mean Pacific time. 7:52. I don't. 7:52. Oh, yeah. I took that trade. I took it. I talked about this trade yesterday. I think I took that trade, if I remember correctly. Right? Isn't that one that I took? Let me see. Yeah, I took the second entry short. It's right here. I took that trade. And I talked about it yesterday. At the time, I had this was in my school community, in my paid community during the real-time session. So at the time we had a slight up channel close outside new high. So I saw this as a first entry, second entry short off the EMA and a new high. But the only problem was we hadn't come back to the trend line and we were pretty close to it. So there's a little bit of risk there because we might get one more leg up, then reverse, or we might need a lower high. So I talked about that one. Okay, well, I have no idea why you went for 8 ticks there. Yeah, that one worked for me. I had a winning trade there. So I don't know why you went for 8 ticks. I don't go for 8 ticks unless the ATR dictates that. But if you look at these bars, they weren't very big. I think at the time, so this is one of those ones where you could only have gone for, let's see, you could have been guaranteed a scalp at 5 ticks there. So I remember I only took a 4-tick scalp there. And it's because even though there was a few big bars in here, most of these bars were small. So I don't remember what the ATR was at the time of this. I'd have to like put the ATR on to remember. ATR was above 2. Yeah, but still, even if it's above 2, like I go for a little bit less than half. So like right now the ATR is a 2.47. So technically, like, I still would only go for 4 ticks. I still go for half. I only start going for 6 ticks when I get like above a 3 ATR. So that's kind of how I look at it. So yeah, it was a winning trade for me. But again, it wasn't a perfect setup. It was a green arrow trade. So there you go. And I did talk about that one on stream yesterday. So you can go look at it, yesterday's video, and see where I broke it down. Oh, okay, gotcha. So the person that you guys are talking about, I don't know. I'd have to watch, but I don't really care to. Okay, so he goes for a 1-to-1 risk reward. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I've actually talked about this on stream before. You can go for a 1-to-1 if you look for the bigger, like, setups. Like, for example, if you catch a trade like this one, you could probably go, like, you have a lot more room to the highs there. So, like, going for a 1-to-1 is probably no problem. Or, like, a trade like this one, even. Granted, I don't know what he does with his stop loss if it goes below the signal bar. I don't know the guy's system, so I can't really speak to it. The other person's system, so I can't speak to it. But I can say that I do what works for me. I'm a scalper. I focus on scalping. I don't focus on like a bigger swing or whatever. But hey, there's different ways to do this. There's more than one way to trade successfully. So keep that in mind. Like, you can trade this system and go for a 1-to-1. You could even go for something else, like a 1-to-1.5 or whatever. You just have to know that sometimes you're going to lose a trade because you went for too big of a target. And that's, if you're okay with that, then it's fine. And Das was saying, so you were saying, like, you can learn from various people and develop a system that works for you. I think that there's an element of truth to that. You want to find what works for your personality. Like, how you manage runners might be different than how I manage runners. Some people don't like to trade with runners. Some people might have more of a threshold for letting a trade run further. There's different personalities, and you have to kind of fit your style to what works. However, at the same time, if you start combining systems and doing all that, sometimes you can end up with something that just doesn't work. So just be aware of that. Like, there is an element of like over-optimizing it to the point where it's actually breaking it. So just keep that in mind too. All right. Yeah, there's all different people that do different things. There's also Al Brooks. Al Brooks trades it a different way. There's a lot of different ways to do things. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do things. Al Brooks also trades second entries, but he does it in a way that's different. He counts his swings on higher lows and lower highs only. So it's a little bit of a different thing. Like, a lot of times for Al Brooks, like a second entry long is like what we would call a lot of times like a higher low after a second entry long. So he does it a different way. To each their own, you know? There's different ways to do it. All right, everybody. I'm actually going to have to wrap up the stream here because I got the Zoom call coming up. So I appreciate everybody for being here. If anybody wants to join the Zoom call, you just go into the paid community. If you join in the next 5 minutes, you can hop into that Zoom call. Everyone else, I will see you soon. All right, no problem. I'll see everybody soon. Thanks everybody for being here today, and I will see you all tomorrow.